Isn't moving house amazing? All the packing and unpacking and needing some things and not having them and then packing some stuff away again. It's brilliant! It's fun. Oh no, that's right. Moving house sucks, and I'm thinking of... So, The Cave is a game where everybody plays speleologists, and it's also a game that'll teach you what the word speleologist means. You're all seeking to explore a vast cave, but mostly it's a game about panicking over what you packed as if you were taking Satan to a picnic. Now, this cave contains claustrophobic squeezes. It contains frozen lakes. It contains dangerous descents, and the winner, if I can quote the manual, is the person who explores the cave in the most excellent way. Now, we're going to cheat a bit and give you our conclusion up front. The Cave is a lovely game. The interesting question here is whether it's better than K2. Last year we reviewed a game called K2, which quickly became a shut up and sit down favourite. It was as simple as it is smart as it is colourful. Up to 5 players are racing to the top of a mountain and trying not to freeze to death, which is a lot more fun than it sounds. The Cave, by the same designer, Adam Kaluza, you could probably get away with calling a sequel. It's basically about going down instead of up, and with that same family-friendly tone. Well, family-friendly if you don't mind your kids dying of cold up a mountain or starving 100 yards below the earth. Teach your kids about death at an early age. That's what I say. That's what my mum did, and I turned out fine. I review board games on the internet. Okay, now mostly, we actually loved K2 because as well as being smart, it was a thematic game. And theme is more about having some sci-fi or fantasy setting. It's about more than having characters with too many or not enough vowels in their name. K2 put you up a mountain and made you feel cold. It had weather tokens that scared the shit out of you. It had a warm little tent token. It had a mountain top which felt like a genuine achievement to reach. And I am very happy to announce that The Cave is every bit as transporting. Ah, see? Table. So, this is how a game of The Cave starts, with a central hub and some speleologists with their wide speleological childbearing hips. And all you're going to do in your turn is you're going to be exploring and laying down tiles. Look, here's a squeeze. And every tile you explore offers up points to the player who conquers it first. So you're going to squeeze through. You'll get that, and then it's another squeeze, and you'll squeeze even deeper, getting more points. And then you'll explore again, and it's a sharp drop. And you're going to lay some rope, opening up the way down to 25 yards deep for everybody else. And you'll get some points for laying the rope, and you'll get some points for reaching 25 feet. But more importantly, you see how we're only 3 tiles into the game's huge deck of level 1 tiles and level 2, all the way going up to level 4. And yet, this is already a cave with a sense of place. It's already a cave with a sense of danger. And you're going to be scared because let's look at where that rope comes from. So, sod the cave. This is your own individual player board. This is the game you're going to be playing, and probably the game you're going to be losing. Just like a real speleologist, you're going to have 5 points on your turn to do as much exploring as possible, and this on the right is your reference of how many points everything costs, but way more excitingly is your backpack. And here's what a fully loaded backpack looks like. So, here's the rope, which we saw how you use, that's gone. The camera is used for taking pictures of fabulous glittery underground wonders. What's wrong with me? This is a lake which you're going to be crossing with your raft, and you're going to be seeing what's under the lake with scuba gear, because that's important apparently, but most important is your food. At the end of every turn you're going to be burning a food, not literally you're going to be eating it. And if you're not back to base by the time all your food runs out, you're in serious trouble. If the cave teaches us one thing, it's that caves are actually fabulous, mysterious places. If it teaches us a second thing, though, it's that speleologists are hungry bastards who are always worrying about where their next meal is coming from, and should they ever run out of power bars and apples, they end up crawling their way home unbelievably slowly. But this leads to a really interesting mechanic, where when you're packing your backpack, you think to yourself, hang on, What if I don't take a raft? Sod the oxygen. What if I don't take any rope or leave my camera behind? You can then fit more food in your pack, letting you go for longer journeys, but as you have less variety of equipment, the cave becomes a more dangerous environment for you to explore. Risk, reward. Are you going to specialize and be the guy with the camera running around after everybody else? Or are you going to be the rope guy? Or are you going to be prepared for every eventuality and really hungry? And now we're into the game proper. Let's say this is you running around with your rope, but leaving the water behind. Inevitably, some cave water obsessed freak is going to start following you around like a wet groupie, hoovering up the points for the lakes that you wasted points placing. It just, as much as the game has a message of positivity, it does paint speleologists as the most passive-aggressive career known to man. I'm kind of expecting an expansion where they start poisoning each other's sandwiches. So, exploring efficiently and jealously hoarding your discoveries is the game, but let's not get away from the appeal here. You and your friends are exploring this magnificent, complicated structure, watching it spread across your dining room table, and also, you know what? It's actually quite funny. I remember one time, the first time I played actually, I set off boldly and I encountered the tightest squeeze in the game. It took me my entire turn, but I squeezed through like a worm. And what was on the other side? It was another squeeze. And the whole table laughed as I continued squeezing my way through. And then after that, I said, if it's another squeeze, I'm just turning around. And it was another squeeze. And I went, F it, and just squeezed home. It was awful, but the whole table was laughing. So you're going to be explaining this game to your friends, and you'll leave the tent till last, and one of your friends will say, hey, what's this middle section on your board? And you'll go, you don't want to know. And they'll say, hey, what's this little cute semicircle token? And you'll go, no, you don't want to know, that's your tent. And they'll say, I want to play with the tent. And you'll go, you don't want to play with the tent. And they'll say, I want to play with the tent. And you'll go, fine, here's how you use your tent, but don't say I didn't warn you. So, when you, with your empty backpack, are returning to camp, you have the option of packing up your tent with everything else. And what that means is you place the tent token here, you fill up your backpack as normal but with less slots, and then you can fill the tent with stuff, okay? Now, you're going to have the option of deploying that tent later, and then getting this stuff out of it. So, essentially, you're getting 2 extra slots, right? Because you lose 2 there and you gain 2 there. No. One of 3 things will happen to you when you use the tent. Phew, that was a really useful little tent. Thanks to deploying out in the wild, I had just enough food to explore a bit. Oh, I left my tent. Oh man, that cost me a lot of points to pack up this tent. Gonna cost even more points to deploy it because it's gonna be worth it. Gonna get all that good food out of it. Oh, I'm gonna have a nice base of operations. But you guys wish you had a base of operations, you losers. Man, when I win, I'm gonna call this cave the Den of Losers because it's so full of losers. Wait, why is there no food in my tent? Oh! Right, I am now living here. This is now my section of the cave with my tent, which is full of food, and I'm gonna eat here and I'm gonna explore, and it's gonna be awesome. Wait, no, wait, no, go away, it's mine, no! So, that's the cave, and just like K2, it is as simple as it is colourful as it is transporting, and that's nice, and you know what's also nice? It comes with a soundtrack, with 1 track for each quarter of the game. Why don't we just play that now? It's nice. And there's other signs that the cave should really win in a straight-up fight against K2. The designer calls K2 a 9 out of 10, but he says cave is a 10, and you can see why. K2 offers a couple of obstacle courses, but the cave offers a massive randomly generated one, so it can be surprising every time you play. But remember I told you before the winner is meant to be the one who explores the cave in the most excellent way? Well, that's kind of misleading. Let me try for an analogy, okay? Let's say that you were given a really delicious quiche and you thought this is going to be a good quiche, and then you cut into the quiche and it was full of about 100 tiny tokens and wasn't quite the easygoing experience that you were expecting from the box that the quiche came in. Does that work? As Bill and Ted once expressed, being most excellent can be kind of complicated. So, at the end of the game you're going to get 2 points for each camera, traverse line and level 1 squeeze token. You're going to get 3 points for every lake exploration level 2 squeeze and 25-foot token you have. You'll get 4 points for a level 3 squeeze or a 50-foot token, 5 points for a 75-foot token or every 25-foot token thereafter. You're also going to get an additional 8 points if you have the most camera, traverse line, squeeze or lake tokens. You're going to get 4 points if you were the runner-up in any of those categories. Oh, and when someone places the last tile, you're going to have 3 turns to get back, otherwise you'll have 0 points. Everybody catch that? Oh, Adam Kaluza, you done messed up, son. Let me be crystal clear. I'm only being mean to the cave because K2 is one of our favourite games of all time. You know, it's so pure. It's like a rock star. You get as high as you can and you try not to die. The cave is more like being a rock star manager. You make sure your bags are packed and you figure out where's best for you to go, and then you keep an eye on your competitors. But that's not to say there isn't some unbelievably good stuff here. Sometimes we shut up and sit down. The time comes to just stop using the fancy words and be in awe. And when you discover a drop in the cave, and you're already quite deep, and you lay your rope, and you get the 125 beat token, and you get all your points, and you descend deep, and you start exploring, and the soundtrack's playing, it's like you get shivers. It is indescribably good. And when you keep exploring, and you link up your very low area to a friend's very high area, causing them to suddenly be faced with a 125-foot sheer drop that they could never possibly travel down. That's lovely design. You've essentially thrown up a wall. It's just really sharp, you know? So, K2 probably just edges out the cave, but only just, and both are fine family games that anybody could play. Really good entry games. But what do I know? Let's double check my working with the shut up and sit down supercomputer. Okay, hello supercomputer.
Hello Quims.
So, should they buy the cave or K2?
K2 is not as good as babies.
What is it with you and babies?
Humans are devices designed to protect sequential generations of humans. Therefore, babies are the supreme form of good against which everything else must be measured.
Oh, well that makes sense actually.
Also, they are highly nutritious.
My new neighbours! Hi there. Netrunners, really, really good. You should definitely play it.